Is that a 365 branded candle?
Yeah, I went to Whole Foods and got him.
Oh.
What are you, poor?
Yeah.
Kind of right now.
What are you?
Got that shit. Nicole. This is where I lose friends.
Are we rolling?
Yeah, we're rolling. Meanwhile, I'm like, where's my phone? Every time.
Yeah. Welcome to the Lone Wolves Podcast. I'm Drew Thurlow.
I'm Laura Blitzer-Wright. It's been a minute since we've been together recording, but today we are going to talk about the Epstein files. I'm just kidding. We're not.
So,
Okay.
today we're going to talk about three kind of underreported stories in the music industry so far this year. It's the end of the summer. I think we have all taken some time off to reflect about this crazy world and business that we're in.
Yes.
But I think there's some things that have not gotten the headlines they deserve. So, I don't know. What do you think?
No, I completely agree. I think summer is a perfect time for big news to happen and people not pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no one's really paying attention to the Epstein files, so that's flying under the radar.
I'm not familiar.
Not familiar. No, I agree with you, and I think that we feel the impact because of all the people that we have seen lose their jobs for restructuring and revamping, and then in the overall music space, it's just there's been a lot, and you point it out often, and I feel like people are not necessarily paying attention.
Yeah.
Had this be September, October, maybe a different story, but
Yeah.
You're right. Summertime kind of gets a lot of things go under the radar.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to expose some of those things.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what do you think is a story that people aren't talking about it?
I think people aren't paying attention to the amount of money that major labels are spending on catalogs right now. Like, the impetus for Warner to restructure was because they spent, $300 million on catalog acquisitions?
Yeah.
That's a big deal. That's saying we're going to take money from the creative, innovative side of our business and we're going to put it towards something that feels like a safe bet.
Yeah.
And that's kind of indicative of where we are right now.
Yeah, I was looking at those numbers. I mean, traditionally labels were developing talent and their bulk of their spends were in A&R costs
Absolutely.
and marketing costs. And I think Sony spent over $2 billion on catalog acquisitions in 2024, the latest year we have numbers for.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they a lot of that was financed through outside capital, Apollo, Blackstone, or whatever. And a lot of those were big, chunk deals for Michael Jackson, Pink Floyd, and Queen. Right. But even Universal, who didn't have a big splash, still spent close to $400 million on catalog acquisitions. And they did not spend close to $400 million on new A&R, artist signings, new recording costs. So what does that mean for like their business model? What is a major label anyway, going to look like?
What's their purpose? Now they're just like a VC fund?
Yeah.
Like, what are they doing? So I think, when we were also looking at like investments in AI and what that looks like for the future of music, is that something that is on hold right now? Or it doesn't feel like, from my perspective, the news of these major acquisitions of catalog are bigger than the news of any acquisitions of AI tools.
Yeah.
From the majors.
Yeah, I mean, the majors have been really
cautious.
Yeah, they've been really cautious. They haven't made any big AI splashes, so they're waiting to see how the legal and ethical lines are decided, and they have to deal with artist relations issues.
So how do we get the caliber of artists? When I think about the time that I started at Sony, when Adele was breaking, Beyonce was blowing up, Justin Timberlake, Pink, Kesha. I could think of all of these artists that were very significant in the late 2000s, early 2010s, that we put so much effort and energy into. And it was a big deal globally. And that feels like, obviously with TikTok, with all of these different ways that we now market artists or we discover them, it's a little bit different. But that feeling that I used to have about the music industry is gone. And I don't know how they're going to continue to find that type of talent and foster it. It's just how.
I think it's partly not necessarily the label's total fault because they can't get the same deals that they had.
Right. They can't.
They can't sign an artist and get the master rights in perpetuity anymore. Right. So they have to be more transactional. I mean, I'm hesitant to judge them, but I want to judge them. Like, you should be spending money in A&R and developing talent and not outsourcing all this to the independent community. But the other interesting side of this coin is that they're also buying up the independent music community space.
Right.
It's like the Orchard and AWOL is the biggest. The Orchard, rather, not even leaving AWOL out of it, the Orchard is the biggest label at Sony now. And Virgin Music Group, which is the independent consortium under Universal, has just been restructured into this big conglomerate. And Warner's has had some changes at ADA, and there's been some stops and starts. But clearly, their money it's the high low. They're spending a lot of money on these like blue chip assets like Michael Jackson and Queen.
Huge, yeah.
And they're spending a lot of money on these like long tail distributors like AWOL and Virgin. But like that, Columbia or Epic or Interscope, they're just not spending.
Where are they now? Right.
They're just marketing like what they have, and they're not developing new artists really, and it's just different and kind of weird.
Or maybe they're trying to develop new artists, but it's not as they aren't sticking as much as they used to.
Yeah. Well, this
like Owen Hosier was like a new artist. It was like they really put so much time and energy into him and developing him. And I don't know if it's like this. That if you don't see the results quickly enough, you sort of abandon ship in terms of like development.
Maybe.
Or
well, you probably only own the rights now for 7 years.
Right.
So if you don't see results within a couple years, like time's running out.
Right.
So move on to the next thing. And so it's super transactional. There's more and more artists being signed, and it's like less and less development and commitment to each artist. So
I miss the art part.
I know it's
like
weird,
the art
right?
part of artists, like the art they create and the creative part of it. Forget the deals and all that stuff. It's just like the output of it.
Yeah, maybe the future really is in the independent music community.
Yeah.
So we'll see with the Downtown acquisition how that goes. Universal is on hold right now for antitrust examinations, but like if Universal ends up buying Downtown for $750 million, then a huge chunk of not only the independent label space with Downtown, but also Curve Royalty Systems, which manages a lot of the kind of nuts and bolts and the pipes of the independent music world, and some other services that independent labels use, like Fuga, which is a big independent label distributor. Like now that'll be owned by Universal, so it's weird. But
yeah, that's one thing that's kind of flew under the radar. Just the entire shift of the majors we're seeing in real time.
Yeah. Another one that has not been talked about enough, and it's a little nuanced and nerdy, so I don't really blame people for it being the forefront of their minds. But we have a situation now where just this week, Cobalt announced that they've signed a direct deal with Spotify for their mechanical rights. I think it was literally this week, this second week of August. So that's on the heels of Warner Chappell doing the same thing and Universal Music Publishing doing the same thing. This is the first time that mechanical rights have gone direct to a DSP. The structure was always the DSP negotiated these rights with a rate court, a series of 3 judges called the Copyright Royalty Board. And Harry Fox and then the Mechanical Licensing Collective was an organization that was set up by the U.S. federal government to manage and direct and negotiate and collect and pay out mechanical royalties. And then overseas, each country has their own, what's called a collective management organization that does the same thing, but it was very structured. It was like the DSP is like the new retail. We have this trade group body in between, kind of like the way that an ASCAP or a CSAC would operate as a PRO. And then you have the artists and their rights holders who had the rights. Well, now we have the third major publisher who's completely bypassed that and going right to Spotify. And that has like a lot of implications, not only on the MLC, who was like founded by the federal government to handle this, but it has a lot of it. Like now they're going to go before a judge and negotiate rates.
So who's negotiating? Spotify setting the rates?
Yeah, they're setting the rates, but it's all under lock and key. Like we don't know what the rates are. So presumably the publishers wouldn't do anything that would be at a disadvantage.
Right.
And Spotify, I think, felt the need to do this because they were sued by this issue for cutting rates in half last year.
Yeah.
But it's a massive, one of the things that the industry's relied on these structures for so long.
Right,
and
it completely puts it on its head. Right?
It completely changes it. And what does that mean now? Does that mean the artists are going to get to go direct without having to go with ASCAP and BMI?
Yeah.
Are they going to get to go direct without having to go to Sound Exchange?
And I mean, these structures are put in place, but they're not legally put in place. Like ASCAP and BMI were created to keep this organized.
Yeah.
If somebody else decides to do it, that's on them, right?
They can. I mean, private agreements always supersede of legislation or a law.
Right.
That's kind of just how the way governments work in any Western government, anyway. So if you do a private deal, but this is the first time that and now as the dominoes are falling, because we have 2 of the 3 major publishers and the biggest indie publisher all doing direct deals. So we don't know what else is in those deals. It could be more than just the rate. It could be some other things. But does the MLC need to exist now? I mean, I don't they do still have a little bit of a role in terms of collecting and data stuff, but and then that my mind immediately goes to everyone complains about their PRO. Do we need PROs? If everything's digitally tracked,
right?
And Spotify is playing a song and then tracking it and then reconciling that to the rights holder or the artist. Why is there someone in the middle taking a 10% overhead and taking 6 months to pay you?
Right.
Does that need to exist?
So they can automate all of that. I mean, we'll see.
Yeah.
You said it here first.
Yeah. It's really interesting. And this is funny because 11 Labs did the deal with Cobalt this week, same week, to have their training data licensed. It's the first AI model licensed to train data. And then on a couple of days later, they announced this deal about going direct. And I feel like it got no attention.
Right.
But it's actually probably a much bigger long-term deal than any AI model licensing they do. There's much, much more of an effect on every artist. And has much more dramatic effects on how mechanical rights and DSPs are going to work together. Yeah. Well, good. This stuff needs to change.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
But is it changing the right way? We'll see.
Yeah. I mean, everything is unwieldy, right?
Yeah.
Which brings us to our third sneaky story in music. What's this trend been in terms of our community and how the industry works with artists?
We are the third sneaky story.
Are we?
Lone Wolf's Club.
How meta. Yeah.
Yeah.
The student becomes the teacher?
I mean, if everything's changing, the majors are shifting and the student becomes the teacher. Yes, we were the students of this space for a long time, and now we are all in one place. We are at 677 community members.
Wow.
And that is a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot of knowledge. That's a lot of connection. What we've seen in our community, at least, people, I just said this to somebody from downtown 20 minutes ago, that when you work at a company like Sony or wherever you work, it's you're at that high school that doesn't talk to the rival high school. The amount of people that I know in this industry far exceeds what I did for 12 years at Sony. I have a real connection with everybody across the industry. And I don't think that would have happened otherwise. So We're creating a space, not just for the majors, not just for this licensing people. It's for everybody who has touched this industry, whether directly or indirectly. And now they're all coming together. Product tech people are coming together talking about what they're building. People are coming together asking for help getting into a job. What else do we do?
Yeah, I mean, we're making content and we're educating our community.
We're making content
literally as we sit here.
Right.
And I think the lesson there is that intentional community is the future of the music business, where we have these big organizations and these big music institutions where the industry kind of organized around the major labels and Live Nation and the big agencies like William Morris and
right, there was these big staple companies that were leading. And
now it's everything's fragmented and fractured, and we're organizing ourselves in these own communities. And Lone Wolves is obviously our organization, and we are we have this really great community. There are others out there too. And if in the artist community, there's a lot of people congregating on these really intentional kind of focus groupy, you can meet other like-minded producers or writers or artists of your own ilk and trade songs or ideas. And there's the same thing in other territories. You have groups popping up in other different regions, in Berlin and London. And
every tool in the world for artists to no longer need to go to a label or to all of these, which I think is a positive thing for AI too, all of these ways that you can essentially create a studio environment and produce your music.
And that's great, right? But when you do that, you're alone.
Yeah. You
might even be called a lone wolf. And and you still need community, right? So
Always.
Reddit and Discord have been fostering that kind of stuff. And we have sister brother organizations like Big Ass Kids, which is a really great organization for independent artists looking to scale their careers. They have distribution services, and Jump Global, which is like squarely put the mental health and
human connection toward in our industry.
He's put that in the center of the conversation where it never was before.
Yes.
So it's really interesting to see.
Digilog too.
The G-Log, which
really
is
focusing on like the tech part of it and
yeah,
people centered around that. We have all of these different, really like substantial groups that are known. Like they're known in our industry. When you tell somebody, when you say you're going to the Jump Global breakfast or whatever it is, like they know who. Same with us. People know what Lone Wolves is. We are creating a place for ourselves in our community, and that's the thing about it. It didn't feel that hard to do, so that means that there was a desire for it.
Yeah, totally. And you know what I'm wondering now too, like we have this really, we have these communities, and there are like some of these conferences and these popping up like in like Jump Global. They do their conference in LA in the fall, but like I wonder when it's going to start to take over the real institutions. Like when are you going to go to Grammy Week and it's not going to feel like so old school heavy? And I was on the board of the TJ Martell Foundation for a long time, and they do unbelievable work, but it is the 1970s,
right? Yeah.
Where they have these super expensive events and dinners and award shows. And when I was on the board, we had 2 U.S. presidents come and speak different years. Like it's really top down heavy, old school. And like, when are we going to go to these? When is that going to start to turn over? And maybe that's not going to be the music industry charity to go to anymore. Maybe the Grammys aren't going to be, it's going to be the Jump Global and the Lone Wolves party, and not the Clive Davis party, or the the Universal or the red light party or something. It's just
money. It's money that you also could have spent on something better, on advancing careers or mental health or whatever it is, and it's just a ton of money being spent to party.
Yeah, and I guess it mattered. I had a great, extraordinary experiences especially when I was at Pandora. End of my time at Warner's, and then the whole time I was at Pandora, I would go to the Grammy Week every year, and it was like the Music Cares dinner is really crazy fun.
Yeah,
right, and it's like. And the Grammy Week's really fun. The party's fun. The actual award shows for the Grammys is like pretty boring. But like, I'm a Grammy voter, so I'd get my tickets and I would go sometimes, and it's cool, right? But like, it just feels so. It's not serving the community anymore, and that's why we have these other intentional communities built around other values.
Yeah, agreed completely, and we're doing it.
Yeah.
So that's like what happened in the summer of 2025.
Yeah, I can't imagine when we do this again in December. What's going to say? It's this shit is like moving a million miles an hour in a way that it never has.
I'm curious. So, even if when we, you're right. By the end of this year, what are we gonna? What's our recap gonna look like?
You want to make a prediction?
A year in 2025.
First concert on the moon.
I don't want to make a prediction yet.
All music is now through Neuralink. All music listening.
All music's free.
Yeah. Being a musical artist is no longer a job.
Right. It's no longer a thing. There's no music being made. I don't know what the prediction is. I think Spotify is going to come out with like some even more premium tier.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see more premium tiers. I think there was like a report on 10-cent subscriptions drastically increasing.
Oh wow!
Okay. Which was I think that was like last week. I don't know. We'll see. Something's got to give.
We should do a prediction show maybe at the end of the year for the next coming year.
I think we should. I think we'll do a recap.
Yeah.
What are those animals people are buying? Labubu's. Lafufus, as I called them.
I've never heard of this.
Labubu's will no longer be. It's going to be faster than a Beanie Baby craze. Yeah, and there'll be a movie about it on Netflix.
Okay. All right. Well, I probably never watched that, but thank you for tuning into the Lone Wolves podcast.
Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on YouTube. Follow us on TikTok.
Like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.